sports talk for the real sports fan.
All you chumps are gonna bow when I whoop him.
It's time for the Swain Event, fueled by Dead End Barbecue.
Give me 2 laps and a Ric Flair.
Swain Event, SwainEvent.com, fueled by Dead End Barbecue. Live from the Low T Center studio, Jason Swain, joined by my good buddy Ben McKee, Go Balls 247. It is the second day of April. But we're here, pushing the show from Tuesday to today. Glad that you can be with us. Ben, what's up, man? Hold on. My bad. Let me turn you up. All right, here we go. Now you sound great.
That's debatable. I'm glad that you sound great. I was worried there about you. With I know you were low down and dirty these last couple of days. I was worried you got catfished, and I was real worried about you the last couple of days.
Man, I was down bad, man. I was down bad. I really didn't get a chance to watch the game. I had to go back and watch it again. Well, I know, but like watching it live, I was struggling to watch it live, man. And I had to go back and watch it again. And it was rough, but it was cool to see us compete on that stage with the opportunity to go to the Final Four. You could tell our players were pressing. They wanted it so bad for their coach. And, man, I can't fault them one bit for playing as hard as they can for someone outside themselves. And they did that. They played their hardest for each other, for Rick Barnes. But that's the stage of the tournament where you got to be dang near perfect. And Tennessee was not. And Houston has been and they were on Sunday, they've been a better version of Tennessee. Defensively, they're good. Tennessee's good. Houston's just a little bit better. Offensively, last couple of years, that's where they've been knocked. But offensively, they're better. They're slightly better than Tennessee, a slightly better version of Tennessee. And what Houston did do is prove that you can win playing Houston style. But you got to make shots, and you got to be able to throw the ball in the post at times and get some points there. But I'm extremely proud of our program. I'm proud of our team being used there in person. Anything that stand out to you that I'm sure it's Wednesday, everything has been talked about, discussed. But just a perspective that you had that many of us did not have watching the game on TV.
Well, first, I will mention that the real estate market is really picking up.
Ooh.
And buyers are out. And if you have a home to sell, please reach out to Jennifer Morris and give Jennifer Morris a call, because she is always on her A game. Jennifer Morris is the Houston basketball of East Tennessee realtors, especially here in Knoxville. She's just great. She's going to win the national championship. That's a compliment.
Duke is going to win it.
Nah, Houston's going to beat Duke. Houston's experience is going to overwhelm Duke's inexperience. But please do reach out to Jennifer Morris. The market is hot. Buyers are out. She also has several UT athletes looking for fixer-uppers. So if you have one of those properties, please let her know. And then, of course, she also wanted to give a shout-out to both men's and women's basketball teams and coaches for great seasons. Shout-out to swimming and diving for great finishes at the NCAA championships over the weekend. And congrats to the baseball team for sweeping the Gamecocks. And I will add on Jennifer's behalf, shout-out to the Tennessee softball program for going into Norman and picking up a huge series win over Oklahoma. That was quite exciting, but unfortunately, a bit lost with all the NCAA tournament stuff over the weekend. I echo your sentiments on the basketball game. It was clear right away. Three things: A, Houston's better. B, Tennessee had a problem in the post. Tennessee could not contain Houston inside. And C, Tennessee was pressing because it wanted to get to the Final Four so bad for themselves, specifically Zakai and Jamai, wanting to further cement their legacy, but also, as you mentioned, absolutely wanted to get there for Rick Barnes as well. I think they wanted to get there for the fan base. There's a lot of reasons. A lot of people wanted Tennessee to go to the Final Four this year, and it looked like the team was bearing that weight, unlike we had seen them deal with that the first couple of games of the NCAA tournament. And I think also what didn't help was just how good Houston is, quite frankly. And look, I really do like that Duke team. I was very impressed with how they have performed up until this point in the tournament. I'm thrilled to watch that basketball game. I will hate watch Auburn and Florida, but I will thoroughly enjoy Houston and Duke on Saturday night. That's going to be an epic showdown, I think, and I can see both teams winning. I'm excited to watch that game. But Tennessee, like I think Tennessee can beat Houston, and if it doesn't turn in as bad of a first half as it did, maybe it puts itself in position to win late. And instead of being able to cut the lead to 10 when Jordan Gainey's going off, maybe you're able to cut it to 2 to 5. And who knows? I don't think that Houston team feels pressure. Swain, on Friday when they were playing Purdue, it was loud inside of Lucas Oil. That's the loudest basketball game I have ever attended. And of course it was magnified by the fact that it was in a football stadium, so you can fit more people. I think there were what they say, 35,000, I think, close to that. And it was all Purdue in that second game, and it was loud. And Houston did not care one bit. They did not blink in the midst of Braden Smith and Purdue trying to make a run. So I don't think that, my point is that if Tennessee were able to cut it to 2 or 5 instead of 10 when Jordan Gainey went on his run, I don't think that they would have started to feel the pressure because of how that team is built. But you never know. I think Tennessee is capable of beating Houston if it plays its best version of itself. But if you played a 7-game series like they do in the NBA, Houston's winning that series in probably 5 or 6. I think Houston is the better team, and unfortunately, you compound that with the fact that Tennessee was not itself, and you had the outcome that you had.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan Gainey just continued to impress me with his heart, his ability to turn the switch. He gave Tennessee an opportunity, but every time Tennessee made a run, Houston answered it with a 3. And that's something different from Houston this past season, this season versus other seasons. They haven't had the shot making. They've had the guys that can penetrate and get to the lane, but man, they got it all, man. They really do. And for a team that was shorter than Tennessee on the front line with their starters, it sure didn't seem like it. The way they were able to get on the boards, I mean, they dominated the offensive glass, opened that game, giving Houston multiple opportunities. It just wasn't your best day. And now it's about trying to get back there. And I was thinking about this last night. If Tennessee gets to the portal, gets really good players, and they're back in the Sweet 16 Elite 8, it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same for me. The reason is because Zakai Ziegler and Meshack, Gainey, those boys, because they've been here multiple years. Like, if we go to the portal and we go buy a couple players and we're right back in the same situation, and if we even advance, I'll be happy. I'll be thrilled. But it won't be the same as guys like Meshack and Zakai doing it, because they did it for 4 years here in Tennessee. But that's just the way we're going. We're headed right now with college athletics. There's going to be new players coming in. there's going to be your Igors, and that's fine. Igor did everything he was asked to do. He played hard, but it's not the same as having a player come in as a freshman, watching him develop and grow, um, and they're playing for the fan base. It's just different. But that's where we're going, and I have full confidence in Rick Barnes and his staff that they'll go out there just like they have in every other scenario, Ben. When there's a weakness, where we come up short, we've made those adjustments. We have. You couldn't shoot one year, you want to go get shooters. You didn't have a closer one year, you want to go get Dalton Connect. You lost Dalton Connect, you went out and got Chaz Lanier. Not saying that Chaz was Dalton Connect, but Chaz freaking All-American, pretty damn good. So
He broke Chris Lofton's single season 3-point record
yeah, I know, right?
in as many games.
Yeah. So like,
He was really good. He wasn't better than Dalton, obviously, but to think that he didn't have a great year, if anybody out there is thinking that's ludicrous.
It's pretty damn good, wasn't he?
Yes, he was it. And Tennessee's already off to a great start in the portal. Haven't landed anybody yet, but they are in great position. If you are on social media, you've already seen that they are in great position with Isaac McNeely from Virginia, the guard who led the ACC in three-point shooting this season. He was in town all day yesterday. He arrived around 9:30 on Monday night, left around 5:30 yesterday. I did bump into him at the airport. He declined an interview, but did say that he, at the moment, is not planning on taking any more visits, which was expected going into Tennessee's visit. He was at Louisville over the weekend. It was thought that as he was beginning his recruitment in the portal that it was possibly a return back to Virginia. That does not seem to be an option anymore. North Carolina was in the fold. They have faded in a big, big way. So the thought that it was coming down to Virginia, or Louisville and Tennessee. He was at Louisville over the weekend, was at Tennessee on Tuesday. Tennessee does believe things went well. It did not receive an answer from him before he left town, which not the end of the world whatsoever, but certainly noteworthy. And I think Tennessee's in a great spot there. I do think Tennessee's ahead of Louisville, and I kind of think it's a good thing for Tennessee that Louisville continues to pick up guard after guard after guard after guard in the portal. They picked up a third big-time guard just last night in the midst of the baseball game. So I think, to me, that's a good sign that they're getting guys that could take away shots from Isaac McNeely. I think he'd be a great fit for Tennessee and what Tennessee likes to do off of its pin downs and curls, and he would play the role that Chaz played this year. The shots that Chaz got this year, those would be his, and I think that would be a great fit for him. So if you go land him, and then the other strong rumors out there, if you're on social media that you've seen, is Jacoby Gillespie, the East Tennessean who went to Belmont his first 2 years, was at Maryland this past year, had a really good season, shot 40% from three. Just really impacted the game in a lot of different ways. Averaged over 2 steals last year at Belmont. I think he was at like 1.8, 1.9, so basically at 2 steals per game this year in the Big Ten. About 5 assists per game, 14 points or so per game. He's one of the best point guards in the portal. There's metrics out there that say he is the best player in the portal, and Tennessee is the front runner as he entered the portal on Monday. And I do think Tennessee's the leader for both. And if you go land Jacoby Gillespie at point guard and Isaac McNeely at shooting guard, and like you're already pairing that with what I think you have a lot returning in the front court with J.P. Estrella, third year of Cade Phillips, second year of Felix Okpara, I think that's a really, really good foundation right there.
No, it's good. I do feel like Tennessee needs stretch four, someone that can shoot the ball from the perimeter.
And they are looking at one. My man from I'm bad with his name, from Robert Morris. Tennessee is in talks with him as well.
Yeah, I do feel like a stretch four would be important because I look at really one guy on the front court, and there's an off season. There's time for Cade Phillips and Felix Apar to develop, post up moves when the ball's thrown down to him on the block. Felix improved with that. Didn't do much of it later in the season, during the postseason, but like this is a skill that those guys can grow and develop during the off season. But outside of JP, like who you gonna throw the ball to right now and feel good they can go get you a bucket? We saw JP be able to do that as a freshman, and so I just feel like you need someone that can stretch the defense, someone that can shoot from the four. I look at how Duke is constructed, and some of the other teams who are in the Final Four. Florida's constructed, Auburn is constructed. They got guys who can play on the block, but they also can handle the ball and they can shoot it from the outside, like an Igor Milicic and what he was able to do this year. So I think that would probably be one thing that we're missing so far from this roster that we don't have moving forward next year. You got that name from Robert Morris. We saw him play against Alabama.
Yes. I don't exactly remember what he did against Alabama. I can't remember if he was one of the guys going off, but a 6'9" Spaniard, Alvaro Fulgarius.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Shot 40, where'd it go? 41% from three. Was 45 of 109 from three for 41.3%. Averaged 14.1 points, 9.1 rebounds. So basically a double-double, and shot over 40% from three, and was the Horizon Player of the Year.
Oh, yes. Sign me up for that.
Yes, you add that to – and I don't – if I'm being totally honest, I don't know how much buzz there is with him, but I do know that he is a name that Tennessee has spoken with and had conversations with. There's a dead period in terms of visits that begins tomorrow, April 3rd. It runs to the 10th or 11th. I think it might be Thursday to Thursday, in which you can't host visits. Just another stupid rule the NCAA has. Like, and this is like Tennessee playing as long as it did not hurt them with the portal. What hurts them with the portal is coming out of its season and immediately having a dead period in which it can't host visitors, which is the dumbest rule from the NCAA. Like, why would you have this right now, right in the middle, the thick of portal season? I don't get that. Maybe there's an explanation out there that would make sense, but that on the surface just does not make sense to me. So I don't expect them to sneak somebody in today, but before the dead period. I think with next weekend being the spring game, the spring football game, I think I would imagine that they try and load up on some visitors next weekend to take advantage of that like they have done in the past. Chris Ledlam was somebody who was here for a spring game. I think Dalton Connect was here the weekend of the spring game 2 weekends ago or 2 years ago as well. So I would expect, given the dead period and spring game next weekend, that you'll probably see some guys make it in at that period of time. But I don't know exactly how far along they are with the Robert Morris kid. I have not heard the buzz that you hear with Isaac McNeely or Jacoby Gillespie. But he is a name that has at least been mentioned, and if that's somebody they decided to thoroughly go through with, I think that would be a terrific addition. There's also the Lincoln Memorial kid, Elijah Freeman. But that one I find you better be dang sure in your evaluation, because he was tearing it up this past season. And that's a big step up in competition. And there's a lot of sharks swimming in those waters. And when there's a lot of sharks, there's quite a bit of money involved. So you better make sure, given the money that it would probably take to get him, you better be dang sure that money is worth that jump up in competition to the SEC. You have to nail that evaluation, or you'll have a lot of money sitting on the bench.
100%, man. There's gonna be money to spend. Tennessee's going to spend money to compete. I think in basketball it's a lot easier, anyways, than football. And you got a Hall of Fame coach who is the active leader and wins. Like, you have to seize his moment, seize his opportunity. You got another year, 2, 3 with Rick Barnes. back up the bricks truck. Go get the roster that you need to have to go further and get to the Final Four. 865-255-03, Garza Law hotline here on the Swain Event. You can give us a call straight from your app, or you can give us a call 865-255-03. The Beatty Chevrolet text box is open for you as well. Man, thing that stinks about kind of the format of the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight, those games being on Friday, Sunday for Tennessee, didn't really have a lot of time to celebrate the win over Kentucky, and before coming back and then losing against Houston. But that was a dominating performance. My goodness.
It was, and unfortunately, Tennessee needed to do the same thing to Houston that it did to Kentucky, and not at all suggesting that Houston plays the same brand of basketball as Kentucky. It's different styles, but you were going to have to accomplish the same things, because Houston, a great three-point shooting team, they don't take a lot of them, but they shoot them at a high clip. They shoot them better than anybody. So you're going to have to run them off the three-point line, which Tennessee did a phenomenal job of against Kentucky, which it had not done in the two matchups during the regular season. It did a great job of running Kentucky off of the line. Just go look at Kobe Brea's stat line in that game. He was 1 of 7 from the floor, 1 of 4 from 3. Obviously a great thing that Kobe Brea only made 1 3. That's a huge accomplishment. But I think the bigger accomplishment is him only taking 4 of them.
Yeah, he couldn't get loose.
No, he could not. Tennessee had him in handcuffs, and then they dominated them on the boards and in the paint. Tennessee won the rebounding battle 34-24, 14 offensive rebounds for 19 second chance points. I was surprised that the points in the paint was as close as it was.
Yeah.
Tennessee outscored Kentucky 38-36. That one was a little surprising to me, given the rebounding battle. Amari Williams did have a nice game for them. So I guess it does check out a little bit. And I was impressed by Lamont Butler in that game as well. He showed up for that moment. He just didn't get much help from Otega Owe and Kobe Brea. But you those were the two things you needed to do against Kentucky: run them off the three-point line and win the rebounding battle. They did that in dominant fashion. That's what they were going to have to do against Houston. Darlin Stone Dubar told me the game before that the team that wins the rebounding battle is going to win the game. Rebound, rebound, rebound. If we rebound, we're going to San Antonio. And Tennessee did not rebound against Houston. They did not do a good enough job of running them off the three-point line. Houston made 9 of them. I do think you have to give a lot of credit to Emmanuel Sharp. He just continued to make dagger after dagger. Yep. Anytime Tennessee would get a little bit of momentum, Emmanuel Sharp would knock down a 3, especially in the second half. He made all 4 of his threes in the second half, was 4 of 8 during that time. 14 of his 16 points were in the second half. So did not run Houston off the three-point line. And the rebound numbers look a little bit better than I think the performance actually was. 42-35, Houston won the rebounding battle. They had 14 offensive rebounds for 19 second chance points. Tennessee did have 12 offensive rebounds, so only 2 fewer. But the big difference there was Tennessee had 8 second chance points. Houston had 19. It seemed like every time Houston would grab an offensive board, it was an automatic 2 points. Yep. Whereas when Tennessee would get an offensive rebound, it just kind of felt like they were tense and didn't know what to do with the basketball. They didn't know whether to go back up with it, kick it back out. They didn't know what to do. And there were some aspects where you just tip your hat to Houston. They made some great defensive plays, stripping the ball away after an offensive rebound, blocking a shot after an offensive rebound. I was very impressed with Houston. I walked away so impressed with Houston, both like on and off the floor, both by how they play, but also how they carry themselves. Jemai Meshack, Zakai Ziegler were sitting on the bench and unable to go through the handshake line right away, which you certainly understand, as they were dealing with the emotions of the world at that moment, because their Tennessee careers had come to an end. And Houston's coaching staff, Houston's players, I don't know if the TV caught it, but they all went over there and stepped off the floor down onto the bench and dapped both of them up, gave them hugs, had positive words for them. Just very, very impressed by Kelvin Sampson, his players on and off the floor. It's very easy to tell why Rick Barnes and Kelvin Sampson are best friends.
Yeah, easy to root for Houston for sure, and I hope they go win it. I know Kevin Sampson said that if they don't win it, he hopes Rick Barnes wins it. I mean, I've watched Kevin Sampson even with his days at OU. I mean, I like his style, and he continues to recruit at a high level, bring in players from the portal. Master P's son is on that team. Hersey, I think it's Hersey. Miller.
Sounds right.
And so you haven't heard a lot of talk about it because he ain't playing, and Kevin Sampson probably was like, "Hey, man, we ain't doing that over here." So, yeah, I got a lot of respect for Houston and how they've played. They've had a couple runs where they come up a little bit short, but not this year. They got a chance to go win that thing, and I think Duke is standing in the way. I think Duke is the best team right now. Like Florida was playing with their food a little bit in the Maryland game. Duke has been, to me, the most consistent team in the tournament, and they can beat you in so many different ways. Defensively, they got a rim stopper. They got Cooper Flag, the closer. They got 3-point shooting. I mean, they got a deep bench. They serious. So I think.
So you got Duke beating Houston.
I think Duke's the best team. I think Duke's gonna win the whole deal. Like, and
I
I
who
don't
you
know.
have in the other one?
I mean, that's gonna be a good one, man. That's gonna be a good one. I'll probably give the edge to Florida though, just because of Walton Clayton Jr. Well,
Exactly my thought. Exactly my thought. Of course, Janiyah Broome is shot in the middle of the basketball game and has to go to the locker room and tore his labrum, tore his ACL. I think he had to have
He's a
reconstructive knee surgery back in the locker room and comes in and, oh, what do you know? He's playing great basketball.
He's a warrior, man.
I look, there is a level of toughness, but it's just hard for me to give that group the benefit of the doubt when it comes to being very dramatic about things.
Especially Mazzara. He's over the top.
Yes.
He's over the top.
I think Florida will win as well. What did Florida beat Maryland to go to the Final Four?
Correct. Yeah. Maryland had a 9-point lead with like 2-3 minutes to go.
Well, and who did Florida play in the Sweet 16? Weren't they? Florida's not looked as crisp as I thought they did in the SEC tournament. Is the point that
Was
I'm
it
getting
Maryland?
to? So I do think Florida will beat Auburn, but I thought Florida would look a little bit more crisp here in the tournament, and they haven't quite looked the way they did at the SEC tournament, in my opinion. And Auburn has looked better than I thought they would. I mean, you and I both had conversations about how at least I said I didn't think they would make it to the Final Four because they were not emotionally strong enough, mentally strong enough to make it that far, and they proved me wrong. Kudos to them. They did play with their food also those first couple of games, but against Michigan State, boy, did they throw a punch. That they did to Michigan State what Houston did to Tennessee out of the gates.
Sure did.
That was very impressive because that was a really good Michigan State team. So I guess every time you doubt Auburn, they prove you wrong. But I think Florida will win, and I love that Duke team. I really do. I know that's not a popular opinion when you love Duke, but I find them very likable. I love watching Cooper Flag play. He obviously puts on for the culture that we have of white basketball players. He's an important piece, an important role model for the culture for us. Him and Colin Knippel or whatever his name is, funky name is.
You said it right.
But I don't know, man. After seeing Houston, I'm riding that bandwagon. I think Houston's experience gets the best of Duke. But I obviously would not be surprised if.
Yeah. Cooper Flag's
I
the
don't
best
think
player
Cooper
in the
Flag's
country.
seen anything like he's seen from Houston.
Cooper Flag's the best basketball player in America. This dude,
Yeah, he is.
this
There's
dude,
no doubt
Cooper
about
Flag,
that.
was holding his own versus the Olympic team before
Yeah,
he got.
you're
to
right.
Duke. So, like, I see why.
Yes, he is by far the number one overall pick. But if I were him, Duke, how much NIL money can you give me next year? So I don't have to go to Washington. The problem is you'd still be going to Washington the year after that as well.
Yeah, I mean, dude,
If they win the
he's
lottery.
he can handle it. He can run point forward for you. He can shoot it. He can take you off the dribble. He can pass it. He got great vision. He can finish at the rim, and he plays great defense. And the dude is humble. and coachable. Like, he's perfect. And so it's going to take a Duke team to not play their best, and I think Houston is fully capable of beating them for sure. Looking at KenPom, the top 4 teams, according to KenPom, are the top 4 teams in the Final Four. The 5th team is Tennessee.
It's back-to-back years in which Tennessee lost to somebody in the tournament that was better than them, and that's a bit frustrating that you kind of ran into a buzzsaw in back-to-back years. And Florida played Texas Tech in the Elite Eight and Maryland in the Sweet 16, and played with their food against both of those teams. I think both of those teams choked the lead away, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, frustrating for Tennessee that you run into the buzzsaw that is Purdue and the buzzsaw that is Houston this year. And I think, in terms of looking at the loss big picture, you should be frustrated as a Tennessee fan. You should be disappointed. It's not okay how they performed on Sunday. It's not. Well, we're not at all suggesting that, Houston was better, so it's okay that they performed that way. No. Like that was not acceptable. But in terms of talking about it big picture, you don't need to react to the loss as if that just erases everything that this team has done up until this point. They lost to a better team, and it's not the same as them losing to an FAU or Loyola Chicago, Oregon State. I'd even say Michigan from a couple of years ago in the round of 32. Those losses are totally different types of losses in the NCAA tournament. You lost to potentially the national champion. We'll see how it plays out in the Final Four. And that's a whole lot easier of a pill to swallow than some of the other losses that we've seen Tennessee take pre-Rick Barnes and even during Rick's tenure.
No, I agree. I agree. So it stinks when you lose. When you have high standards, winning them all is the expectation, and it's hard to do that. Now you got to go improve. You got to go grow. You got to get better personnel. You got to look at what you're doing from a schematic standpoint and see if there's any adjustments you got to make there. Like, everything should be evaluated so that way you can make the adjustments to take it a step further next year. And Tennessee has the resources to do that. It's about getting the right combination of players. And I like our chances. Women's basketball had their season ended by Texas. Texas going to the Final Four. So the women's Final Four is set. Men's Final Four is set. Tennessee football had their scrimmage on Monday. We will discuss some of the highlights from the scrimmage. 865-255-03 is our telephone number to the Garza Law hotline here on the Swain Event. Stay with us.
You're listening to the Swain Event.
You don't say.
Fueled by Dead End Barbecue.
Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. From Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham, they've stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. There are neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Good morning, Swain Event family. Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. Spring is on the way, and that means the March Madness version of real estate is on the horizon. If you're in the home buying or selling mindset, don't wait until you're filling out your brackets to reach out. Get prepared and get in the game now. Call me at 865-694-5904 or visit my website at nextmovesmokymountains.com. Hope to hear from you soon, and go Vols.
Fellas, let's talk about getting back to your best. If you lack energy, muscle mass, feeling moody, or have low libido, it could be low testosterone. You need to know your T levels, so get tested. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, may be the answer, and you'll find true experts at Low T Center. But guys are not all the same, so don't settle for a standard dosage TRT program. Learn about the personalized treatment at Low T Center and the results you can expect with customized TRT. And for current patients, Low T Center offers a $150 referral credit when you refer a new patient. So go to lowtcenter.com to book an appointment. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare. When you are craving some quality barbecue, there's only one place to go. Dead End Barbecue. Dead End Barbecue has been featured on ESPN's Taste of the Town, the first barbecue restaurant on the SEC Network, CBS Sports, Headline News Tailgate Show, Amazon Prime's The Restaurant Comeback, Food Paradise, and named one of the top 100 barbecue restaurants in America. The search is over. Dead End Barbecue is located on 3621 Sutherland Avenue right here in Knoxville. You can even have it delivered right to your door through Chow Now. Visit their website at deadendbbq.com. Dead End Barbecue. The search is over.
Just because you can't call in doesn't mean that you have to sit on the sideline. Impact the show with a text box. It's part of the free Swain Event app.
Ben McKee got the coffee loaded over there. Must be all the traveling. All the covering of the Tennessee.
Still trying to recover.
You trying to recover too?
Yeah, from different stuff than you.
Man.
Thankfully.
My goodness. That was rough. That was rough, but glad to be here with you today, that's for sure. 865-255-03, Garza Law hotline. Tennessee had a scrimmage on Monday. I mean, I was so fired up, looking forward to going. It was in the evening time. Just couldn't get there. Freshman receiver Travis Smith was the talk of the scrimmage. And let me proceed with caution here, Ben. It's really good that we're hearing, positive things from a young prospect at the wide receiver position, because we understand that position will be young and they will play young players. Did get a chance to see him before the scrimmage and some of the earlier practices before they went to spring. And for a guy like him, like every practice is like two practices sometimes because they're so new. And so when they make strides, I think it really stands out. But I'm cautious, in fairness to the player, in fairness to our fans, about hype too early. We've seen in the last couple of years players getting a little hyped a little too soon, and us expecting that type of performance during the season. We got that with remember tight end that moved over?
Dominic Wood Anderson?
Oh, man. That's your boy right there.
You talking about Emmanuel Okoye?
Emmanuel Okoye.
Who, by the way, last time I was at practice, he walked by me. He's putting on a lot of muscle. I'm not saying, look, don't pencil him in your depth chart, but I was impressed by when he first got here. He looked good as an athlete, but now he looks more like a football player rather than an athlete.
So I'm proceeding with caution here. Whenever there's a young player, whenever there's a new player, there's a lot of positivity that comes from the building on certain players when they're asked, when the coaches are asked about a certain player. They're always hyped up. They're always propped up, which is fine. But I do think when that happens, there's a certain expectation level that fans have, and when the fans don't see that player make those plays that lines up with some of the compliments that a player was getting, there's a little bit of disappointment. And we understand that playing a receiver position, until we see something different, it takes guys a minute to really get comfortable and be used and be productive. I think this is the year where you will see first-year receivers be more productive because they have to be. But some of the things that are said about Travis Smith Jr. been really, really good, Ben. And just watching him, I was standing next to you and I saw him. I was like, oh yeah, he gonna be all right, Ben.
He definitely looks the part.
Yeah, he gonna be all right. So he did make some plays in the scrimmage. It's good to see him be able to do that and be highlighted from the coach.
Yeah, I totally agree. Tennessee needs him to play this year. I mean, right now he doesn't have a choice whether he's ready or not, just because Tennessee does not have a lot of depth. I mean, right now it's him and Rodarius Jackson, the other freshman receiver that are backups. So they're going to find themselves on the field at some point in time, just because of how limited Tennessee is numbers wise, and unless they go out and add another body from the portal. So it's obviously a great sign. I think you're hearing really good things about all of the young receivers, the freshmen, as we have specifically spoken about with Travis Smith Jr. and Rodarius Jackson, but also Braylon Staley and Mike Matthews. It sounds like they're having a real strong spring practice so far, but good to hear that at least for the newcomers that is translating to a scrimmage. Travis Smith Jr. caught a touchdown on a fade route with Jake Merklinger. Sounds like Merklinger has also had a nice spring up until this point as well, which is always a good thing. You just never know what's going to happen with your starting quarterback from a health standpoint. There were times last year when things did not look great health-wise for Nico. So Jake Merklinger, it's a big spring and offseason for him as well. But you pair Merklinger with Travis Smith Jr. and the other young guys, and it sounds like the passing game had a fairly strong night on Monday night, and that should be the case when you look at what the secondary is dealing with injury-wise right now.
Yep.
I mean, no Jamal McCoy, and they're searching for depth as well. So, I mean, they should be playing well if we're being totally honest.
Yeah, they should have the advantage, right? If they didn't, then we would raise our eyebrows. So yeah, I mean, the offense should be ahead of the defense right now with so many players who are starters for the defense. But hey, it happened, and you talk about it, and defensive players, they will be challenged to respond better in the next scrimmage. That's kind of how it works. But for Nico, I saw a question somewhere about Nico and is it his job or is there a competition? There's no competition. It's his job, and for him, it's about gaining the weight, getting stronger physically, mentally, challenging himself, being a better leader. Not saying he wasn't a leader or anything like that, but you going from your first year starting as a quarterback to your second year, yeah, you got to be a better leader. You're more comfortable. You're more assertive. You're more demanding of your teammates. You can do that because you're putting in the same work. So you're demanding of your teammates of what you are demanding of yourself. And when you're able to do that, it makes you a credible leader. So Nico had too much on his plate last year, did a lot. I wasn't one of these people that blame Nico for a lot. I do hold him responsible. He's a quarterback. He didn't play perfect, but I thought with more help around him, personnel, and put in situations to be more successful, he would have. So I expect him to have more success this year, and we'll see what happens after the season. NFL draft is around the corner, and we'll see where James Pierce goes. We'll see what Dylan Sampson and Omar Normalot and some of the other players where they go. It's very important for Tennessee to have those players at the NFL level and be successful. We understand that.
A lot of talk about the Steelers being interested in Omar Norman Lott and Dylan Sampson.
Oh, that's perfect.
Come on.
Perfect match.
Come on, play with Aaron Rodgers. Play with one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see you getting used to that. I see you getting used to that.
I want no part of that. I can already tell you what's going to happen. Aaron Rodgers, Jalen Milroe, two quarterbacks that I don't want anything to do with. So I'm just absolutely thrilled. I'll quickly add on Nico. I kind of view him like I did Bo Nix at Auburn, where a lot of people thought Auburn had a Bo Nix problem, and Bo Nix had an Auburn problem, which has proved correct by what he has done at Oregon and what he is now doing with the Broncos. Everybody thought Bo Nix was not a good quarterback during his time at Auburn because Gus Malzahn cannot develop quarterbacks, and just the book was written on Bo Nix. And I'm not at all suggesting that Nico is that far down the line in his career, because Bo Nix, he played 4 years at Auburn? Did he play 5 years of college? I don't know. He was at Auburn obviously longer than Nico has been up until this point. Certainly played more because he played right away as a true freshman. But to those, and it is more a minority at this point, but to the people that are out on Nico because of last year, I just think that's a bit early. I think you are being very, very premature in that manner. And I think that Nico had a Tennessee problem with what was around him last year more than Tennessee having a Nico problem at quarterback, if that makes sense. So my point is, to anybody that is already out on Nico, I think you're being a bit short-sighted. And I will say, I haven't seen much of it. You obviously see comments a little bit here and there. Like you said, like every now and then you'll see, are we sure that Nico's the starting quarterback? Could Jake Merklinger or George McIntyre push him? Yes, he is the starting quarterback. Should he have been better last year? Yes. Does he need to get better? Absolutely. But I feel like his season last year, maybe not meeting preseason expectations. Yes, it was about how high those expectations were, but I think the other part of that was him not getting much help around him. So just be careful. Be careful writing that book, because there's a lot of talent inside that body. And it reminds me of the Bo Nix situation at Auburn. Not that drastic, at least yet, but to where everybody wrote Bo Nix off, and Bo Nix was not the issue.
There's folks writing off Nico, Ben.
Well, if somebody's asking if Jake Merklinger is winning the starting quarterback job or starting quarterback competition that doesn't exist, I would say that person is writing off Nico.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a good point. Whew.
It's very much like the Tennessee basketball haters. It's a very small minority, but the ones who speak out about it are loud.
I mean, you compare Nico's first year as starting quarterback to some other really good quarterbacks in Tennessee football history. I think you would be very shocked, very surprised when you compare. I mean, Nico didn't have anyone throw the ball to, and it could be scheme, it could be personnel, but the facts are the facts. Boy, you might throw the ball to late in the season. Simple, point blank. Didn't have the protection that he needed as well. So, all right, let me hit this Beatty Chevrolet, BeattyChevrolet.com. Shout out to the Chattanooga Mocs for making the NIT Finals tomorrow night. Oh, yeah. Open tryouts for the big-time programs. They'll be getting a chance to do a little scouting. That's what it is.
You're not wrong. I'm just glad that some team from East Tennessee can beat Loyola Chicago in a tournament this time of year.
Oh, that was wrong. Charger Vol said not only were they pressed, I think they were emotionally, mentally drained from playing Kentucky in the Sweet 16.
I honestly don't think that they were,
I don't think
because
so either.
in the locker room, it was like that they didn't even care that they beat Kentucky. They were so focused on getting to the Final Four that they were not as – I mean, they were pumped up, don't get me wrong. And like Jemai Mashak, when I was talking to him at his locker following the game, I mean, he kept saying over and over, like, we weren't losing to that team. We weren't losing to that team. We weren't losing to Kentucky. That's not how my career was going to end. They were very, very thrilled that they picked up that win, but it was very – there wasn't a huge reaction. They were very focused on trying to get to the Final Four.
It was a total domination of Kentucky. When you are mentally drained, typically it's because like you played a knock-down, drag-out type of game, and there was ups and downs and lead changes here and there. Like the Auburn loss was an emotional game. Like even if Tennessee would have won or lost, and I'm talking about the game at Auburn, that was an emotional game. The win against Auburn in the SEC tournament, that was an emotional game. The game versus Kentucky in Sweet 16 to me wasn't emotional. That was just a pure dominating performance from Tennessee.
It was emotional, but not to the point to where it affected them against Houston.
Yeah, like it was a business game. Like I didn't see Tennessee celebrate like that after the game. Now they celebrated less after UCLA, but I saw Zakai say what he was going to say to Lamont Butler at the end of the game, and the referee had to say something to him. But like outside of that, like I didn't think the Kentucky game affected Tennessee.
No, I think that example fits the Alabama win when Jemai Mashak hits the game winner, and then Tennessee turns around and loses in Oxford.
Yeah. I agree. This year's Houston and Duke teams are two of the top teams by every analysis site over the past decade. Plus, they are both historically good. No shame in losing to that Houston team. They are some grown-ass men. Proud of the season we had. No way we should have been in the Elite Eight after losing Estrella and Carr. This team overperformed. I love them and will miss them. I mean, I've been thinking it. I haven't said it, but you lose your starting center and probably your second guy off the bench and Carr, maybe your first, who knows? You really only have 9 dudes in a rotation, and you still go to Elite Eight. I mean, that's pretty damn strong. That's pretty strong. Chip Payne says, looks like Rick Barnes is going after offense instead of defense, which is probably easier to work on a player's defense rather than work on offense. I see it. A player may be better at offense than defense. I don't look at it as Rick Barnes going after a player going after offense instead of defense. I don't look at it that way.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, because Rick Barnes said this publicly a month or so ago. Like, there was a player in the portal last year that transferred from Belmont to North Carolina, in which
where'd he go? Was he on the team last year?
No, it was the Cade Tyson kid.
I remember that kid. What did he do this year?
Nothing.
Oh.
At North Carolina. I'll let you pull up his stat line, but Rick said this publicly. He did not mention him by name, but he referenced recruiting a player that asked him, would you be okay? What'd Rick say? Would you be okay would you leave me in the game if I gave up 3 straight buckets on the defensive end? Something along those lines.
Come on. Come on here, son. Come on over here. Let me holler at you, son. That next dead ball, that horn.
It was something along those lines. Like, if I give up 3 straight buckets, are you going to leave me in the game if I make 3 shots on the other? Something like that.
3 straight. There's a player that asked that?
Yeah.
Son, you don't even supposed to ask that question. If I'm being recruited at wide receiver, Imagine me asking Coach Foreman, "Hey, Coach, you gonna leave me in the game if I drop 3 straight balls?" I'm not gonna drop 3 straight balls. I'm not thinking about dropping any balls. Why would I ask a coach if I'm going to continue to play by dropping 3 straight balls? Ugh. Yeah, I'm looking at the stats.
So they're not bringing in those type of guys. Is my point in mentioning that is they're not going to bring in somebody who is not giving effort or not at least working on getting better defensively. I mean, Dalton and Chaz were not defensive guys when they showed up to Tennessee.
They worked on
but
it.
they worked on it and got better. That Rick was taking offense over defense with those additions, but he knew that Dalton and Chaz would play hard and would work on their defense, and that's what defense is. All you have to do is play with effort to not be a bad defender. That doesn't guarantee that you're Jemai Mashak or Zakai Ziegler, but if you play hard, you're going to be a reasonable defender. That's what Chaz Lanier was. Chaz isn't Jemai, but Chaz plays hard, and he's fairly smart. So he was able to hold his own, especially as he adjusted down the stretch of the season and started playing good defense, as a matter of fact. Defense is all effort. That's what that is. So if somebody's asking, well, if I give up 3 straight buckets, are you going to keep me in the game? That tells you all you need to know about that person's effort.
Yeah,
and
get him off my phone.
Yeah, if
over.
Assuming Isaac McNeely comes to Tennessee, like would he? Is he an offensive pickup? Absolutely, but Rick is not adding him to the program if he doesn't feel comfortable that he'll at least play hard and work to improve on the defensive end.
Yeah. So it's not you're picking offense instead of defense. You're just prioritizing offense more.
Yes.
Because you can't just forget about defensive basketball. Like, you just can't. Look at Kentucky. Look at Alabama this year. Like, they wasn't as good defensively as they were in other years where they had good teams. You still got to play really good defense. The teams who are in the Final Four, they are still good defensively. You mean, like, you look at Duke, they're 4th. Houston, number 1. Auburn, 8th. Florida, 10. So all 4 of those teams are in the top 10 offensively and defensively. So you still got to be good defensively. So, yeah, don't look at it like Rick is choosing offense over defense. He just understands he just needs better offensive players. Like, there's not one player in a tournament that when he catches the ball, the defense doesn't respect. There's not one player on Duke's. Now, big boy who blocks shots, if he catches the ball at the top of the key, they probably a sag off of him, okay? But they ain't sagging off Cooper Flagg. They're not sagging off Janai Broome. He can make those shots. Dylan, Carwell, like they sag it off of him. Big man off Houston Roberts, they probably let him shooting it. But not a wing player. There's not one wing player in the Final Four that you're sagging off of. And as much as I love Jemai Mashak and what he brings defensively and what he brings to the basketball team outside of shot making, you can't allow a team to play you like that moving forward. Like, you may not have the same individual defenders like a Mashak and a Ziegler, but you can't let defenses play like that way either. So that's what I hope we bring in through the portal.
I'll quickly say that Jacoby Gillespie can play defense. He look, I'm not saying he's Zakai Ziegler, but Jacoby Gillespie at 2 steals a game, like he can play some defense.
That'll work right there.
And I also will add this, like I'm not at all trying to insinuate that McNeely or Gillespie are 1,000% coming. So I don't mean to insinuate that. I think Tennessee's the front runner for both. The reason I keep bringing those 2 up specifically is because those are the 2 guys on the board that are being talked about the most and are probably the top priorities at the moment. And look, I mean, especially with Gillespie, the writing is kind of on the wall. I mean, there are so many ties there. He's from East Tennessee. His head coach just went to Villanova. Tennessee needs a point guard. Like let's connect all the dots there, huh?
We need a starting point guard.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was an all Big Ten player, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe like I think he was on the third team, maybe. But I'm not at all trying to insinuate that those two players are 1,000% coming, but Tennessee is the front runner for both, in my opinion. And like there's a very real scenario in which both are in Tennessee's starting lineup next season.
Yeah, I like.
But there's still work to do, especially in today's world of NIL. I don't think we have to mention at this point, but things truly change within 5 minutes. I could hear something at 9 o'clock on the dot, and it can change by 9:30. And there's a lot of courtesy visits taking place in the portal, to where guys are only taking a visit to this place or that place to raise up their number that they're trying to get from the school that they want to go to.
Yeah. I mean,
Not saying that McNeely's doing that. I mean, yeah, heck, he's only taken 2 visits. He's not even going to North Carolina, from my understanding. So it's Louisville or Tennessee. So he's not. I'm not trying to say he's doing that, but you just never know in today's world, as everybody knows. But I do think Tennessee's in great position to land both of those guys.
Volfan says Duke is constructed with 3 lottery picks. Tennessee isn't paying for that. Well, Duke is not. Duke's a basketball school. Period. Like they spend some money here and there for football. They got some transfers. They got a transfer quarterback here and there.
There's a reason Tennessee continues to finish second for the 5 stars. Tennessee is doing a great job of recruiting 5 stars, and it's still not quite enough. There's a reason they ended up number 5 or ended up number 2. So, what's my man, big man that's going to Houston next year? He's from Louisiana. I deleted him. Chris Senack. I was going to say I deleted him from my memory after he committed elsewhere. But Tennessee was number 2 for Chris Senack, the 5-star from Louisiana, from New Orleans. Weren't able to get him. Although I don't know that one was necessarily a money thing. I think that family was a little bit more comfortable with Houston than Tennessee. Houston also a little closer to home. But, I mean, right now, Tennessee's number 2 to Arizona for Braden Burries, the 5-star guard out of California. And there's some unfortunate circumstances there if you're Tennessee, to where Bryce James, the son of LeBron James, is going to Arizona. Bryce James obviously represented by Clutch. Braden Burries represented by Clutch. Like there's a push there to make sure Braden Burries ends up at Arizona with Bryce James. So to Volfan's point is, like, Tennessee keeps finishing number 2 to all these 5 stars. That they were in it for Nate Ament for a long time, and it seems like he's going to go elsewhere to more of the traditional blue blood. Tennessee is in a healthy spot basketball-wise on the NIL front. There have been no issues, and there's a lot of money coming off the books this year with as many players as you have leaving and key players leaving. But they're not dealing in blue blood money, to Volfan's point, which I think we all knew, obviously. But I will add on to her or his point that Tennessee is in a healthy spot, at least, as we've seen the last couple of years, especially last year with Chaz. Chaz did take less to come to Tennessee than he could have gotten at BYU or Kentucky, but Tennessee was still where it needed to be, to where he was willing to take less and prioritize the basketball side of it.
Oh yeah,
Chaz was very much taken care of this past year.
100%. All right, DZ in Milwaukee, still hurting from Sunday, but life goes on. Happy to see that we're attacking this portal with a vengeance. Do either you guys think that was an inevitable letdown after such an emotional win versus Kentucky? I think there was a smidge of that, but mostly Houston is just that dang good. We already covered that. About the emotional letdown, I don't think so. Double J says, I don't have any animosity towards Houston like I do Purdue. I respect Camp Sampson and his team. Definitely talked about that. Houston and their fans have been nothing but class. If anyone had a chance to go listen to the interview that Ron Slade and the crew did with Jim Nance on Monday. Chip Payne says he's an old warrior, talking about Janai Broom. Came to Tennessee Vol. Yeah, Florida. Man, they had a 9-point deficit to Texas Tech. Texas Tech missed 2 front ends of a one-on-one. Couldn't defend 2 threes from Clayton and 2 threes from they stretched forward Florida. Who
Was it Condon or was it the other one?
it was the other one, wasn't Condon.
21.
Yeah.
No, Condon is 21. Oh, I know. Hall.
Yeah.
Haugh. I don't know how to say his last name. Forgive me. I'm illiterate.
He and Walter Clayton made some money that day, but
You mean Steph Curry Jr.?
yeah.
He looked like Steph Curry on those shots. He's not Steph, but he looked like Steph in those moments.
On those shots he did. Yeah.
Especially the one where is the quick turnaround out of nowhere and just pah.
So smooth, man. All right, he's the best guard in the country. I will admit. He's the best guard in the country. He's the best point guard in the country, I guess, too. It's hard to deny what he's doing right now.
Yeah, I wonder if this tournament run that he is on might help him win the Bob Cousy Award.
Oh, yeah.
In which he is one of 4 finalists along with Zakai Ziegler.
Oh,
Just like I also wonder, with the way Chaz played his first couple of games of the tournament, I wonder if that puts him in good position to potentially win the Jerry West Award that he's a finalist for.
Who's he up against?
Chaz, I'll look it up real quick.
Because you look at Ziegler. I mean, my goodness. If it wasn't for Walter Clayton Jr., he would win. But Walter Clayton Jr. has been the best player on the best team and has been just clutch for all season long. So
Chaz is up against Caleb Love from Arizona, VJ Edgecombe at Baylor.
Oh, yeah, he better than him.
PJ Haggerty at Memphis.
Better than him this year.
And PJ missed it. I think PJ didn't play in the tournament because of injury.
No, he didn't.
And Trey Johnson at Texas.
Oh, yeah.
Who was awesome, but his team didn't make the tournament. I think Chaz would be up against Caleb Love, and I think Chaz's overall body of work. Caleb was awesome in the tournament, but Chaz went further, and I would think, without doing a deep dive, that Chaz's overall body of work was better.
Man, Caleb Love versus Duke. Oh my gosh, he messed up my bet. I had Duke covered.
We had a big game before. Who'd Arizona play before Duke? He had a big game before that one too.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
What'd you think of Michi Johnson transferring back to South Carolina after he had transferred back to Ohio State the year before? For those who have not seen, Michi Johnson signs with Ohio State out of high school, transfers to South Carolina, transfers back to Ohio State, and now he's headed back to South Carolina. He loves him a Buckeye and a Gamecock.
That's something else, ain't it? I mean,
it is something else.
He's allowed to do it, so I'm not gonna criticize him too much, but my goodness, just back and forth, huh?
I think Caleb Love went off against. Oh yeah, you're right. I had scrolled too far back. I think he went off against Oregon. Is the one that I was thinking of before Duke.
Yeah, and Caleb Love old.
Yeah, 29 on 5 of 7 shooting. Tobey had 12 and 14. Shout out Tobey.
My goodness, man. Yeah, Caleb Love was on his thing. So yeah, I can see Chaz winning that because I think Chaz being on a better team and being what he was in the toughest league in the conference. In the country. I think he'll get the edge.
And then a couple of big time performances here in the tournament. I think that helps.
Yeah, for sure.
Since it seems like these awards are being voted on after these games are being played compared to some professional awards that are voted on their regular season awards. It seems like there is a postseason component to at least some of these in college. We had a quick baseball question that I will knock out of the way from Central Florida Vol. He asked me if it's time to have a serious discussion about getting Blake Grimmer some weekend at bats. What say you? I do think that Blake Grimmer deserves some weekend at bats, and Tony Vitello has been trying very, very hard to get him weekend at bats. It's just hard to. I mean, who are you taking at bats away from? You're not taking them away from Dean Curley or Andrew Fisher or Dalton Bargo, the way he's been swinging it lately, or Reese Chapman. I mean, and Gavin Keelan's about to be back. You're not – I mean, I guess you could pinch hit him a little bit later in the game for whoever is catching. If Stone is catching and he's not having a great game at the plate, you could get him in there and then put Cannon in after Blake Grimmer, since Grimmer doesn't play catcher, or vice versa with Cannon and Stone. But he is certainly – there's no doubt that he is certainly deserving of weekend at bats. Tony has said that publicly his last several interviews, and he was talking with John and Vince on Monday morning on Sports Talk about how he was desperately trying to get Blake Grimmer more at bats. It's just hard to find the right situation because of how much talent and how much depth there is on the roster. So I think that they will continue to seek out getting him at bats. Don't be surprised if you see that this weekend against Texas A&M, a College World Series Finals rematch this weekend at Lindsey Nelson Stadium, and it's the series that we all thought it was going to be. Number 1 Tennessee versus 1-8 Texas A&M in SEC play.
Man,
it's exactly what we thought it was going to be.
They'll be great against us, though.
Yes, right. No, they've got a lot of issues. Their coaching staff might just say, screw the games in Knoxville. We're going to drive up north to Lexington and open up a can of whoop-you-know-what on Kentucky's coaching staff after the shenanigans that Nick Mingione broke out over the weekend. Did you see that?
I saw a little bit of it, but I didn't get a chance to really do a deep dive. You know, Kentucky always with those shenanigans. I know Tennessee had a little issue with them. What went down?
So on travel days, if there's a flight involved with the away team traveling, which obviously Kentucky is flying back from Texas A&M, from my understanding, there's a curfew in place in this instance, it was 4:30. You can't start an inning past 4:30. Once 4:30 rolls around, that's the final inning. And A&M was down, and it was like the bottom of the 8th or something like that. And Kentucky was doing every trick in the book to to waste time and get it to 4:30. They were taking mound visits and taking forever to get on the mound, and they were just wasting time to bring this curfew into play. So they were winning. I think it was 10-5. So it's not like A&M would have come back anyways, but you just never know. And they were just doing everything in their power to make sure that extra inning did not get played because of the curfew, which, I mean, if it's allowed, like, I don't think Kentucky did. I mean, it is soft, but they also didn't break any rules. It shouldn't be a rule in the first place, quite frankly. It's 2025. I mean, come on.
Do the same thing.
It is soft, and it's funny because it was that Kentucky team that did it, and they catch flack all the time for their shenanigans. So it was funny in that regard, and it is soft, but like the rules allow them to do it, and A&M would have done the exact same thing.
Oh, 100%. 100%. All right, let's get to the Garza Law hotline, 865-255-03. Let's try it out. Good morning. Nope, never mind. Let's try this one. There we go. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, nothing. It's Justin in Florida.
Justin in
I have a
Florida.
question. Hey, first comment. Awesome basketball season. Hate it ended the way it did, but credit to those guys. I mean, anybody that has even a little bit of heart in their chest. I mean, you got to get a little teary-eyed watching guys like Z and Meshack take that jersey off for the last time. But I had a baseball question for Ben. Actually, two questions. First one is, Ben, what's been have you heard anything what the plan is with AJ Russell? I know they're going to really kind of take him along slow, but I mean, are they going to start increasing the workload, or are they just going to kind of cruise things out and see where he is come postseason time? That's question one.
I'm assuming you watched him throw last night.
Yeah.
Or are aware
you
that
had,
he threw last night.
Yeah. No, I am. I just, he's getting, an inning here,
Right.
getting a break, doing bullpen sessions, and so on and so forth. Has Tony talked about like increasing that slowly over time, or?
Yes, they are at that point now. I know there's been a lot of or maybe I shouldn't say a lot of, but there's been a bit of a freak out or skepticism from fans because he was shut down a second time, and they're worried about a setback, or there are rumors about AJ's family not wanting him to pitch this year, and there's just a lot of nonsense going on. It was truly AJ looked too good too fast. I mean, he was throwing upper 90s in record time, and it freaked everybody out. I mean, that's genuinely what happened, and they felt like he was too advanced, and because of what he could potentially add to this team in hopes of winning another national championship, and because of how much money his arm is going to be worth in July, AJ's side, Tennessee's side, all felt it was best if they went back to the original target date, which was exactly this time. The original timeline was midway through SEC play, or first half of SEC play, end of March, beginning of April. That was the original timeline. He was checking off all the boxes. He was on track to do so. He was looking great, feeling great, and he came back too quickly. And nothing bad happened. He didn't have a setback. It's just he was throwing the ball too well for a guy who had Tommy John surgery last June. Like it was just too quick, and it kind of freaked everybody out. And also, Tennessee doesn't need him right now. And Tony said at the time, the beginning of March, when they shut him down for a second time, and shut him down from pitching in games. He's been throwing bullpens off to the side all along and has been looking good and feeling good in those bullpens. And Tony said early March that, like, hey, if we needed to press the button, we could press the button. He could pitch in games if we wanted him to pitch in games, but they were just being overly cautious. And so now, with that being said, they have now reached the point of where they're truly ready to ramp him up and truly get him involved. And Tony did say last night the next time he'll pitch is next Tuesday. They're not ready to throw him in to the deep waters of the SEC just yet. I asked Tony off to the side after his post-game interview last night, like, when do you feel comfortable putting him in against SEC competition? And he told me that he would like to get him like 2 or so more outings before he's available on the weekend, just from a comfort level. They want AJ to be comfortable with having been on the mound for a couple of appearances before throwing him in against SEC competition. If they wanted to, they absolutely could, but they don't need him right now. I mean, go look what Tegan Coons and Braden Krenzel did in Game 3 at South Carolina, and even at Alabama the week prior, and that's a top 15 Alabama team on the road. So they are starting to build him back up. I think you're only going to see him for an inning at a time until maybe 2, until he gets back against SEC competition. AJ, when I asked him during his interview last night, like, what is your end goal? And he told me that 40 to 50 innings this season. And I asked him if by the time the postseason rolls around, will he be totally available to do whatever is asked of him within reason? And he said, yes, absolutely. So I asked Tony last night, do you have a role envisioned for him yet? And he said that he did, but he had not talked to AJ about it, so he did not want to say so publicly in his post-game interview. I think that he wants AJ as that third starter. That's my personal opinion, and I think that is how they will build him up going forward to take over that Game 3 starter role. And obviously they'll start him with caution. I don't think you're going to see him throw 100 pitches even by the time the postseason rolls around. But I can see like a 70 to 80 pitch outing at max at the end of this season, and then you have Tegan Coons and Braden Krenzel following him up in those game threes. So they're starting to truly build him back up, and my personal opinion again is that I think they're going to work him up to be that game 3 starter.
Yeah, I thought maybe they were being overly cautious because the other thing people forget is early in the season it's cold. You play night games, it's cold, and there's no reason if as a pitcher, it's probably feels a heck of a lot better to be throwing in 85-degree weather versus 40-degree weather. Last question I had for you, Ben. Could you imagine what this Tennessee order would look like if they got the college version of those torpedo bats?
I think they should. I think they should do what the Braves are trying to do and order as many of them as humanly possible. But it is wild what that would look like with metal bats. These torpedo bats that are illegal. Justin, okay, well, don't throw shade on my Yankees. It would be fun to watch.
Listen,
I know you're not.
Hey, no, I'm. They are within the rules. People don't realize this. There are all sorts of different models, shapes, weights, diameters of bats. I mean, a P110 is different than a 318. I can tell you that much. And, credit to them. Now, I still think it's up to the pitchers to throw pitches that aren't landing in the sweet spot. But the results are insane. But I'm going to hang up and listen. But thanks for the info, Ben.
Thanks for calling, and thanks for the questions. It would certainly be fun to watch Andrew Fisher or Dean Curley, some of these guys, swing with a metal version of a torpedo bat. Dean Curley hit one 434 last night, I think it was. Tennessee's longest home run of the season with a torpedo bat. That thing's going 460 and over that road out behind the porches in left field.
To the water?
It might. It's certainly going on the train tracks back there.
Oh, boy. 865-255-03. Appreciate Justin in Florida for the phone call. Garza Law hotline. See what's up on the Beatty Chevrolet text box. Real funny, real deep from the 423. Real funny there. Vol fan, Tony is the coach. He doesn't have to try hard to get someone at bats. He fills out the lineup. If he wants to get someone at bat, he can just do it.
It's still hard, though, because if you're giving him an at-bat, you're taking an at-bat away from somebody else who also deserves it.
It's a good problem to have when you have so many talented players. You're trying to find ways to put them in, involve them, and use them. Is there a chance NCAA approves a 5th year for Jemai and ZZ to stay? If they pass the rule, you get 5 years to play 5, but
I'm fascinated to see how this plays out, Swain, because I think that the rule is intended for athletes beginning with the 25-26 academic calendar. So it would apply to next year, which obviously it's that Zakai and Gainey and Meshack and whoever have already graduated. But I think the thought process is, with that understood, is that a lot of people will come after the NCAA legally. Like, you're not going to allow me to have a 5th year just because I was born a couple months before this person. Like, what sense does that make? At some point, there does have to be a line in the sand of this is it.
You
and we're
old,
moving
man.
forward with
You
it.
old. I mean, goodness gracious. At some point, it's like, come on, man. You old out here.
Right. Now they're not Chad Baker Mazzara, so I think it is a little bit different in that sense. It does. It seems the people smarter than me and national reporters that are covering this and truly following this, that they seem to suggest that this is absolutely happening. The 5th year is going to absolutely happen. The red shirt will go away, and everybody's going to have 5 years. Whether you're redshirt, there's no redshirt anymore. You have 5 years to play college athletics. It seems like a foregone conclusion that is going to happen. The question is when. Will it get passed next week or be discussed or approved in the House settlement next week? And if it is, like, at that point, if the thought is that, okay, it applies to next academic school year, 25-26, okay, well, then these athletes that just ran out of college eligibility, are they going to try and sue the NCAA or come after them legally and say, what, I don't get a fifth year just because this person was born a couple of months before me? So I would, in terms of how you apply it to Tennessee situation with the basketball roster, I would suggest just not getting your hopes up, because I think there's a lot that would have to happen, a lot for that would need to happen in order for those guys to win their case and it be passed in the first place and come back. So I would just suggest not getting your hopes up and just be over the moon shocked and thrilled if it were to happen.
Yeah, I'm not getting my hopes up. It would be nice, but you got to proceed like they are done. So that's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. 865-255-03, Garza Law. Hotline here on the Swain Event, fueled by Dead End Barbecue. Appreciate everybody there on the text box this morning. AlphaWildlife.com. If you have any wildlife issues in your home, it could be bats, squirrels, raccoons, whatever. Let the experts, let the veteran-owned Tennessee fans solve your issues for you. That is AlphaWildlife.com, serving Tennessee, parts of South Carolina. Again, AlphaWildlife.com. For the great Ben McKee, GoVols 247, I'm Jason Swain. And we doing this again tomorrow. I wonder what we have to talk about tomorrow. A lot. We'll be here. Swain Event, fueled by Dead End Barbecue. Peace and love. We are out.